Hey 12, it's the Seahawks Squad, sponsored by Gametime. Everything Seattle Seahawks every week, breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the Emerald City, the way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Get loud, 12s. The Seahawks Squad Show starts now.
Welcome into the inaugural episode of the Seahawks Squad Show right here on Locked On Seahawks and YouTube. Really appreciate you guys hanging out with us for our first show. I just want to take a couple minutes to introduce everything. Super excited to have Robert Turbin, former Seahawk, join us, Christopher Crawford, and myself, Anderson Hirst. You may know us from Locked On Mariners as well if you guys are big Seattle sports fans. But this is a show where we're going to kind of put together kind of the heads of Locked On Seahawks and break down everything Seahawks. And what a perfect day to get started, the day before training camp tomorrow at the Virginia Mason Athletic Center. We're gonna, our format's a little bit different than you guys might know for the Locked On Seahawks daily podcast that you guys get with Corbin and Rob Rang. They will be joining us on Thursday, so look out for that episode. But we're just a twice weekly, hour-long show, so we can kind of have a little more time to break it all down, like you guys deserve, Seahawks fans, as we get going here for the 2025 season. But it's going to be a ton of fun. And as I mentioned there, we're not replacing Locked On Seahawks by any stretch of the imagination. Like I said, they still have their show. This is in concurrence with that. And then, of course, once a preseason and then regular season gets going, we're going to have a post-game show for you guys with all the brains of Locked On Seahawks here. Myself, Robert Turbin, Christopher Crawford, Rob Rang, Corbin Smith, some sort of combination of those guys will all be with you every single episode. But this is what we do. We're big Seahawks fans. Obviously, Turbo's got the former playing experience, so we're going to lean on him big time. I'm definitely not an X's and O's guy. I like to consider myself the fan's perspective, so I can just kind of hop in, ask the questions that I want to know, and other fans hopefully want to know as well. And I'll lean on the big boys. Turbo for his former playing days. Chris Crawford's got a scout's eye like I've never seen before. You got Corbin Smith with his X's and O's and how he can break stuff down. And Rob Rang, who's a current NFL scout for the BC Lions. And, it does a really good job breaking down players as well. But I just want to say one quick thing real quick. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So we'll have some more stuff for you with FanDuel a little bit later on in the show. But let's start with you guys. Let's comment in what you guys think, what you guys want to know. We'll be checking out those comments every single time we get them. But let's start with you, Christopher Crawford. Introduce yourself for those who might not know you. And, welcome to the Squad Show.
I'm excited to be here. And I just want to thank Mr. Turbin for having a camera angle where he's not making us look like we're in as bad a shape as we really are. Like the fact that I can't see those like 28-inch pythons it's giving me confidence. So I appreciate that, man. Yeah. I have worked for NBC/RotoWorld for the last 9 years with a quick break where I worked for RotoWire. I have covered the NFL and MLB and college football especially, but a big Seahawk fan. The very first ever Seahawk game I went to actually hurt the Seahawks a lot. It was a loss to the Broncos, and it gave them it was a win over the Broncos, that gave the Seahawks the second pick in the draft, and they got Rick Meyer instead of Drew Bledsoe. My bad. My bad for sure. I have covered and loved this team my entire life. I have had a few door incidences involving punching things at times. I'm not proud of it, but I just love this football team, and I'm so excited to be talking about it with all of you guys.
Turbo, how about you, man? Welcome to the Squad Show. It's so exciting to have a former player with us today. So
man. I appreciate it. Thanks for allowing me to be a part of the team. Appreciate the warm welcome and everything like that, man. Hey, Hawks football. That's what it's all about, baby. Drafted in 2012, won a title the next year, lost the title the following year after that, and a tough one. And I'm sure that's probably one of those days you were punching holes in the wall.
Yeah.
I apologize.
That's all right.
Apologize. Even though I didn't call the play. but I apologize. Okay.
Thank you, buddy.
And when you were referring to the Broncos game, for a second, I thought you were talking about the first game back. Russell was a Bronco, and I was like, that was your first Seahawks game?
No. I wish I was that young that was my first Seahawks game. I really
thank
do.
you for clearing that up for me, man.
Yeah.
Anyways, so drafted in 12 and then retired as a Seahawk after returning to the team late in 2019 with beast mode there. We lost to the Green Bay Packers there in the playoffs, unfortunately. Man, Seattle is home, man. It really is. I still do a lot of work up there. I'm still there a lot. I don't live there yet, but we'll be transitioning back up there at some point. Just a beautiful town, man. The thing that I love best about Seattle, other than like eating food everywhere, okay. The reason why I have to stay in the gym so much, Chris, because I eat, a lot, especially when I'm in Seattle. Okay, that I've been to that I don't like yet. All right. But man, just the people, man. It's all about the people, like the 12s. I mean, it's like it's everything. Like it's so genuine, like just the love and the appreciation and the friendships and the connections that you're able to make, and people are willing to give out a helping hand and and things of that nature. Like, I'll be honest with you guys, transitioning from football, into other things, not easy, for a lot of us. But Seattle, like the people of Seattle, just like people who don't even have anything to do with football, right? We're able to lend a helping hand. My dog is currently moving my microphone right now, so my little puppy who's 80 pounds already because he's exactly. But he's only 8 months old. It's absolutely crazy. But anyways, thankful to be on the show, man. We are going to have a fun season working together, you guys. I'm calling games for CBS now. I've transitioned into broadcast. I'm running an organization based out of Seattle right now called Sports and Schools. I'm the executive director, man. And so I'm just having fun with life, man. I'm a dad, 2 kids, a dog, so just doing it, man. Happy to be here.
Yeah, it's awesome to see you so connected to the Seattle area still, even years after your playing days have finished. So I think that's what makes this place so special. I'm born and raised here myself, Anderson Hirst. I definitely don't have the acumen that these two do in terms of football and covering the game and being a part of the game like these guys have. But I'm just a Seahawks fan, man, and I have been my whole life. My first Seahawks game actually was in 2012, the game-winning interception, so to speak, against the Green Bay Packers on Monday night. So that was my first Seahawks game. So kind of kicked off the Legion of Boom era, so to speak, in my eyes a little bit.
Right. That was the Fail Mary, wasn't it?
Fail Mary. I was thinking of
you were thinking of the 49ers.
Yeah.
Richard Sherman.
No. I meant game winning, like Russell threw the interception, but it was with the
there you go. Golden Tate refs.
Yeah. Exactly.
Rules are rule. It's 50-50 ball, it goes to the offense.
Exactly. So, hey, I'm not complaining. I was there that day. I was celebrating in front of Packers fans. It was so much fun. But yeah,
you guys know I cried after that game.
Did you really?
Yeah, I shouldn't even said that. That was it. Yeah, but the truth, it's the truth. The truth is, whatever. I mean, I'm talk about this as a player. We won the game. I was excited about that. But man, I had that. My whole family was in town. I had my high school buddies.
That's awesome.
That I played football with in town. And I think I played like 4 snaps the whole game. It was such a tight game.
Yeah.
And the offense really on both sides barely had the ball,
right?
Kind of thing. It was just like, dang, all these people here. And I was like, I barely saw the field. I was young though, whatever. Yeah. But
was that your rookie year or was that your second year?
Well, if it was 2012, that was my rookie year.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah. Awesome. So yeah. I'm not supposed to be out there anyway. I'm a rookie for crying out
loud. Yeah. Well, we're rookies on this squad show. It's our first episode. Really appreciate you guys hanging out with us, tuning in. I know it's 7-8 months ago at this point, the last 2024-25 season. But this is our first episode, and I just want to get really quick your guys' thoughts on what you thought you saw last season. I'm sure everyone's broken it down like there's no tomorrow, but for it being our first episode, kind of leading us into this season as we go into training camp tomorrow, at the Virginia Mason Athletic Center. Chris, I'll start with you. What were your overarching thoughts about the 24-25 Seahawks season going into this year?
Encouraging. It was encouraging. And I think the thing I was most encouraged by was just Mike McDonald's defenses are legit, right? Like there was, even with some guys who did not fit the scheme, the improvement that you saw from this defense, in particular, when you make that change at linebacker, right? When you upgrade from Jerome Baker at linebacker, it was just such a different defense. And the improvement that I saw from Tariq Woolen, like a very talented guy, but had his ups and downs, but really seemed to lock in towards the end of the year. I thought that the secondary was much more strength. I think that if you take a look at how inefficient the pass rush was outside of Leonard Williams, but still being able to get to the quarterback on a consistent enough basis. And then, offensively, so much has changed, but I thought that there's enough good here, in particular, to develop of Jackson Smith and Jigba was just such a massive thing, right? Like going from being in his rookie season, kind of a borderline gadget player to someone who was a legitimate number one option, and the talent that you have in this backfield and, the quarterback change, that's obviously something that we'll have to see what happens here. But I was pretty darn encouraged. I did not think the Seahawks were a 10-win team coming into 2025. And a lot of that has to do with coaching. And that was obviously a major coaching change that happens there. But that defense is going to be legit. And I'm super excited to watch it in 2025.
Turbo, what are your evaluations after the 24-25 season?
Yeah, I thought it was, it was good. It was a little underwhelming because you didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah,
right. I mean, you got to at least do that, right? You got high expectations for the team, and you got players and everything like that. But a lot of change, a lot of moving parts. You talked about that, Chris. 10 wins. It is an indication how hard it is in the league. You 10 wins, you don't even get to the playoffs. 3 teams in the NFC North went to the playoffs. So. So underwhelming from that standpoint, but I love what you said about Jackson Smith and Jigba, man. I mean, I got offered a trade in fantasy for him, and I was like,
hey,
not that he's, JSN, he's a baller, you know what I mean? But like the growth, like you mentioned, Chris, I mean, like he really took not just a step, but like a huge step. Where now it's like he had expectation before, but now it's like, you already expect you just expect him to play at a high level, like one of the better wide receivers in the league now. That's kind of how you expect him to play because of what he put on tape last year. I was shocked at it. Not that he didn't have the talent or the skill, but just how quickly, especially in an offense like Seattle, that's hasn't really been as explosive as we have expected them to be.
Absolutely.
He was awesome, man. So, a little underwhelming at the fact just because, we didn't make the playoffs, but encouraging, like Christopher said, just because of some of the players that really elevated their game, especially Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Yeah, I like the encouraging sort of description of it that Chris had, and underwhelming. But you can have both things at once, right? You can both be encouraged by what you had, but also know that the end goal is to at least make the playoffs. And I think that's what these guys are looking for heading into this season. At least you're going to kind of turn the page one more past the Pete Carroll era. We'll kind of keep an eye on those guys in Vegas and kind of what that looks like. As you guys saw today, Jamal Adams going back to Vegas with Pete Carroll. They got Geno Smith there. It's just Seahawks once again 2.0. It's crazy.
Just whatever. I'm gonna let you guys know a little bit about my personality. Okay.
Sure.
I'm a truth teller. I know this is a Seahawks.
Tell the truth then. Let's go.
I listen. I'm not like I support the team. Trust me. There's nothing but love there. Okay, but I'm not punching holes in the wall if they lose a game. It's not that. So sometimes when you're a fan, it's like, the honesty is, you kind of, you tuck it a little bit, because you want to keep it positive.
Yeah.
Right. We'll do that, but you're going to get some realness too.
Awesome.
For me, at least. I just want to let you give you a heads up. Okay.
That's great.
Okay.
Always bring the heat. We're always happy for
I just
that.
think I don't want the 12s all of a sudden turn on me because I said, I don't know. I just said somebody's not a good player or something like that.
Yeah.
All right.
No, we got you. Yeah. So comment in what you guys think your evaluation was from the 24-25 season. Once again, this is your Seahawks Squad Show. I see a couple comments already. We're asking, where's Corbin? Where's Rob? Where's Nick? These guys, they're still hanging out with us. Don't worry. This is a different show added on to the Locked On Seahawks podcast that you guys will get 3 times a week. Like you normally get. Don't worry. They will still be with us, and they'll actually join our show as well from time to time. We'll do twice weekly, usually on Tuesdays and Thursdays at this time at 6 o'clock, a nice hour-long Seahawks show for you guys to break it all down. So we thought the first episode was perfect to start the day before training camp starts at the Virginia Mason Athletic Center. So really excited to kind of get this ball rolling a little bit, excited for the season to get going. But before we move on, after our break here, I want to talk a little bit about, as we kind of transition from last season to this season, the biggest news right now in Seahawks land is Noah Fant and the release or cutting, however, whatever term you want to use it with that. I want to get your guys' thoughts on what this means for the evaluation of the rest of the tight end room. Does this mean Elijah Royals looking really good? Do they feel like, what they got in that room right now is good enough, or do you think it was a mistake to let him go? So we'll talk about that right after we get back, and, then we'll kind of really start to transition into this year. You guys have probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rugiet Ready.
Rugiet Ready is a next-gen prescription treatment designed to amplify arousal in the brain and boost blood flow. Unlike the usual pills that can take hours, Rugiet's 3-in-1 formula dissolves under your tongue and kicks in fast, on average in 15 minutes. Effects can last up to 36 hours, so you can stay confident and in control when the moment is right. If those traditional options haven't worked, Rugiet may be the answer. Over 150,000 men have already made the switch.
Head to Rugiet.com/LockedOnNFL and use code LockedOnNFL to get 15% off today. That's RUGIET.com/LockedOnNFL, and use promo code LockedOnNFL for 15% off. Individual results may vary with prescription treatment. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, or manufacturing review. Please visit the Rugiet website for full safety information. Okay, really, really quick. Let me close out of this one. Sorry about that, guys. Hit the wrong button. All good. Let's talk about Noah Fant, because that's kind of the biggest news in Seahawks land right now. The day before training camp gets going here, they announced, I think it was on Sunday, that they would release Noah Fant and kind of get some cap safety, so to speak, cap room to deal with the cut of Noah Fant. Turbin, I'll start with you this time. What are your thoughts on the release of Noah Fant? Do you think I think there was always some untapped potential there. What does this tell you about how they feel about the current situation at tight end?
Well, you said it, untapped potential. You never quite felt like you got the Noah Fant that we traded for,
right? And
the player that he was in Denver. Yeah. That never quite happened with Noah. And you're paying him a lot of money. You're paying him as if, hey, you got to be top 15 player at your position in the league. Don't know if we can say that.
Right.
When you look at his career as a Seahawk, a lot of rotational, the way that they navigated tight ends, he was part of a rotation. And you're getting paid like a guy who's supposed to play 40, 50, 60 plays in a game. And so not that he's not talented, but perhaps, sometimes you're just overall not the fit that you thought you're going to get. So as a player, it sucks. But it also, creates new opportunity. I've been cut before. I was really, really mad at the Seahawks when it happened. But, the older you get in the league, the more you understand none of this is really personal.
Right.
It's just, it's business. It really is. And teams are just trying to make the best decision for their squads. Obviously, it saves money on the cap. That's always a positive. The thing that is the most frustrating, though, like where Noah would have a point in terms of having a little gripe with the Seahawks,
totally,
is the timing,
right?
Like right before training camp,
yeah,
where teams have sort of established how they want to go into at least the start of training camp. So it makes things more difficult for Noah Fant and his team to find a new destination.
Yeah.
That is the only gripe I think Noah Fant could have with the Seahawks. And that's really the only disappointing part to me about the move, looking at it from a player standpoint. Like, man, you probably knew this heading into the spring. At least at the end of it, after you saw Elijah Arroyo balling out there.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so anyway, it's I think it's a good move for both sides. It's just the timing that sucks.
Yeah, it did kind of raise some eyebrows in how long this took, because I think a lot of people kind of going into free agency thought that this was something that was a possibility, especially given a lot of teams and their need at tight end. But Chris, what does this tell you with the timing purposes? What Turbo was just talking about there. What does this tell you about maybe something that went into it before? There's a lot of speculation that John was trying to trade him, and then it just never formulated. So is that the conclusion you draw because of this?
I think it has to be the conclusion, right? And I keep going back to that Jalen Ramsey trade that I think really hurt the Seattle Seahawks, because I think that was the destination, right? That I think that Noah Fant going to Pittsburgh was kind of the thing that John Schneider kept holding on to and getting something done. And unfortunately, they are able to work out a deal that I think Pittsburgh loses or wins actually substantially, being able to get a guy like Minka Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
And also getting a tight end for that team is a big gainer. But I think also this says something about maybe the Seahawks having something big coming up, right? Mm-hmm. Because why else are you doing this move right now? Why else? Because I think, Turbo, you brought it up. Like, this is not a great time for the market, right? Like, this is typically when you see a release like this, it's usually the end of the preseason, right? And then guys are like, okay, well, these are the situations. Everything's really clear. Yeah. Well, every team right now has their dreams, right? You take a look at it and you say, you know what? I believe this guy's going to do this, and this guy's going to do this, and we're going to give him 4 weeks to prove me wrong. Or I guess it's 3 now in the preseason, but we're going to give him that time to say that this is not the player. And then when they get cut, okay, we know this guy's better than this guy. Now it's kind of tough. And if you're fans, maybe you just got to like play the waiting game here and say, I have to wait for it. And nobody roots for an injury, but maybe you have to wait for an injury before you can sign. In terms of for the Seahawks, I think it's a move you have to make, because Noah Fant is not the blocker that AJ Barner is, and Noah Fant is not the receiver that Elijah Arroyo is. And he's in between those two guys and being paid a heck of a lot more money in a cap league than both of those dudes, right? It just doesn't. I think he was tied for the highest cap hit of anyone on the offense. So it's hard to say that it's a bad decision. It's a questionable decision to do it right now, both in terms of what you're doing for the player. But if this is, and I'll just throw it out there, if this is in regards to a potential Trey Hendrickson trade, if this is in regard to something along those lines, then I think it's a little easier to justify.
Yeah. So Turbo, I want to ask you, like, if you see anything like that in the kind of the future cards here for John Schneider, opening up some money so you can kind of make a big splash there, that there might be some available trade partners if you're looking at, Trey Hendrickson, like Christopher Crawford said, or anyone else. But there has to be at least a little bit of a worry with the tight end room currently, because you got Brady Russell, Elijah Arroyo, and AJ Barner right now, and unless I'm forgetting someone else. But even Brady Russell was supposed to be kind of a part of the fullback competition as well. Right. Maybe that's a signal that he's going to be more of a tight end. And you got Robbie Utes as your fullback for sure. Kind of going forward. I don't know, but this seems like a little bit of a light tight end room to me right now.
GMs love being right on draft picks. They do. And all they need to see is a little something. Same thing with, position coaches and, coaches who are evaluating the roster. This move was to strictly create space. maybe for next season, next off season. I don't see a big move coming because I don't think the Seahawks need a big move at this particular time. They got a pretty solid roster.
Yeah.
If they did, maybe it might be somewhere on the offensive line that they want to upgrade.
Oh,
okay.
But DeMarcus Lawrence, Uchenna Nwosu coming back healthy. You know, when he was healthy last season, the defense was already good, even better when he was healthy.
Right.
Took a bit of a drop, especially when it came to putting pressure on the quarterback when he got injured. So you got two veteran guys. You obviously got Jaron Reed and some guys in the middle of the defense. I don't see a big move coming because of the tight end trade. I really don't. I think what I see is they like Arroyo. That's what it is. Right. They like Arroyo, and they're going to move forward with him.
Yeah,
and the young tight ends that they got in that room.
Real quick, they do sign Eric Saubert in March, and a guy who has been around for a very long time. Not a good receiving tight end really at all. I believe career high 15 catches, but he's somebody I think that fits their scheme a little bit more too, because when you go into those 12 formations and sometimes when they play three tight ends, he's going to be someone who's more comfortable in the blocking situation than Fant was. Fant wasn't a disastrous blocker, but he's not a guy who is going to be somebody you want really pushing that line of scrimmage, right? Whereas a Saubert, 6'5", 253 pounds, and he doesn't give a crap about catching the football. He is there to just ground and pound. He's a better fit for what they're doing as a third tight end as well.
All right. Good to know. So Chris, just following up with that, you don't think they need to add another tight end at this point in time?
I don't think so. I think that I saw enough from Barner to suggest that he's a solid second tight end.
Okay.
And Arroyo, if he can stay healthy, has a chance to be one of the better tight ends in football. Like his just speed. He's a pretty darn good route runner for a tight end as well. You don't typically see guys who can run that whole tree, and he can't run the whole tree like a wide receiver, but he's a guy who can. And he's also somebody you can split out wide, right? Like he's someone you can split out wide and have Barner play in line as that six blocker or a guy who releases on those play action passes. I think they're actually okay at the tight end position. It's there's no star guaranteed, and the Seahawks haven't had a star tight end. Jimmy Graham was the closest that they've come, right, to that actual star tight end. All due respect to, Turbo, you played with Zach Miller, one of the better all-around tight ends in football at a time. And, John Carlson, for us old folk, remember him as a very solid tight end.
Will Dissly, baby.
And Will Dissly, and I'm glad that he's found some success, but they've never had that dynamic receiving option outside of Graham, and the connection between Graham and Wilson just never seemed to really be there. It wasn't like he was terrible, but just never quite lived up to that expectation. Yeah. By the way, if everybody wants to feel old, Jimmy Graham announcing his retirement from football, man, that makes me feel old. That makes me feel old. Such a great player. But I think the tight end room is okay.
Okay. All right. So no alarms are ringing here for both good and bad. No alarms ringing like, oh my God, something's happening big behind the scenes, but also no alarms like we need to go we're incredibly thin at this position. You're happy with what you got right there right now. So I like that. I think, and it saves you some money, gives you some flexibility during the season if you do need to make a trade that you can kind of go along with as well. When we get back, we have Robert Turbin with us. Let's use him, right? Let's talk about the running back position a little bit. I have some questions about Ken Walker in his kind of performance up until now. Has he been a disappointment for you guys? Make a comment in the comment section if you guys think, he gets way too much hate or he needs to be way better. Maybe it's hopefully somewhere in between. But when we get back, that's what we're going to kind of pick the brain of one of my favorite Seahawk running backs of all time, Turbo, Robert Turbin, after this break. Workplace stress is at an all-time high. 61% of the global workforce is reportedly higher than normal stress levels. This summer is the perfect time to take small steps to focus on your wellness and manage the challenges that come with your workday.
Of course, most of us can't just quit our jobs or take endless vacations, but we can start small, whether it's getting outside for a few minutes, adding movement into your day, or talking to someone who can help you navigate life changes. That's where Betterhelp comes in. And, this is something that's kind of close to me because I have dealt with my own clinical depression stuff, and having someone to talk to is extremely important. And, the fact that they have the flexibility of online therapy, that they fit into your schedule. It's not you having to drop everything so that you can go find a therapist. BetterHelp makes that easy for you and makes your mental health a priority.
As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Unwind from work with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/locked-on. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/locked-on. All right, let's have the Ken Walker conversation here. Like I said, we have one of my favorite Seahawk running backs of all time, Robert Turbin, as part of our show, so we're going to use him. You better believe it. So I think there's a wide range of opinions when it comes to K9. Has he been somewhat of a disappointment? Maybe he gets too much hate. Maybe the injuries have been frustrating some fans. Do you expect better numbers from him? Maybe you expect him to absolutely explode in the 2025 season in the new scheme under Clint Kubiak. So, Turbo, where do you lie in this feeling towards Ken Walker at this point? Or maybe we should even be talking about Zach Charbonnet as someone that might overtake him for the number one running back role.
Well, I don't see that happening.
Okay.
The only way Zach Charbonnet is going to take over as number one is if Ken Walker is no longer a Seahawk. And hopefully that doesn't happen.
Yes.
The legit argument here in terms of frustration is, the injuries. Can't control it, and that's something that, he's going to have to improve in terms of how are you preparing in the off season? Are you paying attention to your body? Like, are you learning yourself each and every year? Like for me, man, every year I learn something new about my body, how to take care of it. I started working with a dietitian, after my third year. We used to do 3 blood tests a year just to put together a very detailed and intentional nutrition program, because of what the results were saying. Because from the test, now I know exactly what I can and cannot put in my body and how my body's reacting to certain foods and drinks and all those kind of things, right? And so, how detailed are you getting in terms of that? Because I never had hamstrings and muscle pulls, and I credit that to the people that helped me stay in detail with how I prepared each and every year, and so where is that? And for some players, man, you kind of have those people that are there that help you right away. It took me 3 or 4 seasons to find. I was eating Chipotle for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, when I first started out. You know what I'm saying?
Breakfast and champions, baby, right there.
I'm telling you, yeah. So it takes time. The expectation is always there because it's there for the team. So it's certainly there for K9. And so you expect him to be, one of the better running backs in the NFL. And I think that he can. I think that the way he's been used the last couple seasons hasn't been to the strength of Kenneth Walker III. And I think that's why you've seen a decline in his production, on top of, or I would say in conjunction with, the fact that the offensive line hasn't been the strongest either over the last couple seasons. And you can see that because of how they've, protected the quarterback or lack thereof. That also impacts the run game also. But there's plenty of games where K9 comes out of the game with like 9 carries, and how's he supposed to, find his way, during the season and throughout a game. And so I don't really have any question marks on Kenneth Walker, if I'm being honest with you, other than, can you stay healthy for 18 weeks? Outside of that, I think that as a player, as long as he's utilized the right way, and I think Coach Kubiak will utilize him to the best of his ability, and he can be one of the best backs in the league.
Yeah. Chris, is it just as simple as he needs better O-line because he has, as Robert just pointed out there, his production has declined. Both all three of yards per attempt, and yards per game have all gone down since his rookie year. So is it just as simple as he needs a better O-line, or is there something deeper going on in your eyes?
So, Anders, we've talked about this a few times on the Mariners postcast about the term disappointed and how we don't get disappointed with players who are not capable of doing what they can do, right? We get disappointed when players sometimes don't live up to expectations, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing with Kenneth Walker is, and I just got the stat from PFF, and I know Pro Football Focus sometimes is a hot button with some folks.
Every team subscribes to them. So let's just keep it real here. It's a tool to be used.
Let's keep it 100, as the kids used to say. This guy averaged 0.42 avoided tackles per attempt last season. Do you know how many running backs have done that before in Pro Football Focus's history?
I do not.
It's 0. It is 0. It broke a tie between Marshawn Lynch, who some Seahawks fans may have heard of, and Nick Chubb, that at 0.31. 0.42 missed tackles per carry. That is the best anyone has ever done. Now, why does Kenneth Walker have to have so many missed tackles? A large portion of it is an inferior interior offensive line, right? Just not the unit, as Turbo eloquently put it, just not a great unit at all. Not at all. Are there times where I wish Kenneth Walker would hit the hole a little bit harder? Sure. But at the same time, I appreciate that Le'Veon Bell level of patience and waiting for that hole to open up, right?
Yeah.
Because the value of doing that, and I think you can speak to this as well as anyone, Turbo, the value of doing that and not getting the 2-3 yards where you can pick up 6 or 7 if you show that patience and make it second and short is invaluable. It is invaluable. Here's the one thing I want to see Kenneth Walker do more. I want to see him more involved in the passing game. I believe Kenneth Walker III can be a really good receiver. I want to see more screen passes. I want to see more swing outs to him, because when that guy is in the open field, he is as tough to tackle as any running back. And that's not just me saying my opinion. I literally just gave everyone a stat that proves that he is as tough to tackle as anybody. I guess my one concern with Kenneth Walker too is just the position that he plays, right?
Yeah.
The injury stuff. And unfortunately, running backs don't usually get less injury prone as we get deeper into the year. So I'm glad that they have a solid, if unspectacular, backup. And I will mention, just because I don't know when I'll get to talk about him, I am a massive Damian Martinez fan. And I think Seattle fans are going to fall in love with Damian Martinez. And I think that we're going to see him involved in the offense. I think we're going to see kind of a 3-headed monster here. But Kenneth Walker is unquestionably talented enough to be one of the 5 or 6 best running backs in football.
Let me piggyback off of that if I can, Anderson, because I just want to make 3 quick points, because I love what Christopher had to say. In terms of being involved in the passing game, that was my point when I was like, it's how he's been utilized.
Right.
And think about if the Lions didn't throw the ball to Jahmyr Gibbs.
Sure.
What do you have him for? What did you draft him for?
Great point.
And I can see the Seahawks with Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker III being kind of like a David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs type of running game, where David can, he brings a hammer like Zach Charbonnet, and Kenneth Walker, you can almost do anything with him. He's so athletic. The other point that I want to make in regards of what you said in terms of him hitting the hole, one of the things he especially did earlier in his career, not so much now, was that he's fast, right? And so he wants to use his speed. Because the hole's inside, bro.
Right.
You can't bounce everything outside. Okay. And so I think that's something that he has improved. Just want to continue to improve on that in terms of hitting that thing downhill. I love what you said about that, Chris. And then the last thing was in regard to still hitting the hole. The point I wanted to tell you guys was, as a running back, okay. So when you have, and it's important that one of the coaching points that we get from our coaches, running back coaches, that, man, you got to trust it. Yeah. If it hasn't been there 8 times, the ninth time, you got to believe it's going to be there.
Yeah.
But, we're only human. And when you have the inconsistency up front,
right,
then I get inconsistent with my decision making in terms of, hitting it when it's there. Now I missed it.
Sure.
Because it wasn't there 8 times.
Yeah.
And so now I'm second guessing when I get the ball.
Right.
Yeah.
And you get a little bit of that with K9, man. So if that synergy can be developed between him and that offensive line, man, this can be a scary run game.
Yeah, I'm totally with you guys. I think you put it much better than I ever could. So my question follow-up, we'll start with you, Turbo. Former NFL running back Robert Turbin and Super Bowl 48 champ, by the way. We got a Super Bowl champion amongst us right now, which is pretty dope, might say so myself. But do you expect that much? So from what you guys are telling me, it's everything around him that needs to change. It's the offensive line, it's the play calling, it's the usage, right? Is that going to be that much better this year? I know you drafted Gray Zabel. I know you're going to hopefully get a healthy Abe Lucas for the whole year. Charles Cross is going to be that rock at left tackle. There's still questions at center and right guard. We'll see what ends up kind of happening with that with training camp. But and then of course you get Clint Kubiak, the play caller. Do you have that much more faith that he's going to be able to get that much more out of Ken Walker?
100%. 100%. Coach Kubiak's been around this game forever, and his father always had great run games in terms of his offensive scheme. His scheme is built around having a good running game. When you think about the Shanahan schemes of the world, that's the kind of tree he comes from. Yeah. This offense can't be built around Sam Darnold. I'm sorry. It has to be built around a strong foundational run game. Remind me the name of the offensive coordinator we hired from the Rams a few years back.
Shane Waldron. Yeah.
Complete utter mistake from the jump. I was thinking to myself, what the hell is Coach Carroll doing? He's ruining everything offensively. Everything. And the results showed itself. Okay. And so, I would watch the tape of a Shane Waldron offense and just, what formation is this? I would ask myself, Yeah. But you're also talking about a guy who was inexperienced and hadn't been around all that often and had never been an offensive coordinator before in the NFL. Yeah. Not Coach Zuby. He's been around forever. Yeah. He's been around football forever, since his father and everything like that. So the answer is yes.
Okay.
There have been enough changes to create a strong foundational run game this season.
And then I'll kind of follow up with that with Chris. What we talked about, Clint Kubiak, Turbo's full confidence. What about the O-line? Because that's the other aspect of things that has to get better. And that's been just a topic that's so tiring among Seahawks fans. I'm so tired of going into every season being like, is our O-line going to be good finally?
Right.
And then just, is it the O-line? Is it the quarterback? Is it the O-line? Is it the running back? And we just keep having these conversations. So you draft Gray Zabel. Obviously, I think he's pretty much a shoe-in at left guard. Yeah. Like I say, hopefully you get a healthy Abe Lucas all year. Do you trust that the O-line is going to be that much better, especially in the run game we're talking about specifically here to get the most out of K9?
I think it's going to be considerably better. My question is, how much of that is darting with faint praise, right? Because if it's worse than we got from 2024 in some of those games, then this is going to be bad, right? Yeah. Because this offensive line was just overwhelmed at times. And, I think Owafemi is a guy who will make a jump. He was a guy I liked a lot at Michigan, and I think he's going to be a solid, if unspectacular, center. I love Zabel. I think Charles Cross and Abe Lucas are both talented bookends. The right guard spot's a little curious for me because Anthony Bradford, now Anders and I, we both love the Christian Haynes pick. Maybe he makes that jump in year 2 and he can be that guy for you. But they're not one of the elite units by any stretch of the imagination, right? I do believe that Kubiak's going to help. I think it's going to help in terms of not just like the scheme stuff. I think there's also going to be an added toughness, and all due respect to Ryan Grubb, who I think is going to be an incredible college head coach someday. I think he's an excellent offensive mind, and I think he is meant for college football. He was not meant for the NFL right now. It was too big of a jump, and he just was.
He barely gave the ball to
that's my thing, right? Like that. Like they're just. he was overwhelmed and he just felt too pass happy. He got too concerned, I think, with falling down and not establishing that run. Right.
Yeah.
I do think that there's going to be a toughness added to this group. And I think toughness, I think Turbo, you can speak to it as well as anyone. You want some dirt dogs on that offensive line for you, right?
I mean, you want some assholes on there?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
I mean, I want a complete jerk.
Yeah.
On the offensive line.
No
Seriously.
Doubt. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say talent matters. It absolutely matters. But if you don't have that intensity, if you don't have that attitude where you don't give a crap what anyone thinks about you because all I care about is knocking this guy in front of me down, it doesn't work. And I think that Kubiak is going to help establish that again. That, look, a lot of people hated Tom Cable, right? But the one thing I don't think you can say about Tom Cable was
they did.
A lot of people really disliked.
Wow, I never knew that.
Yeah. There was
more you know.
Yeah.
Was this not like nice in public or something, or what?
Well, and the offensive line started to struggle, and I think some of that has to do with maybe a certain quarterback holding on to the football longer than some people would have liked as well. But there was just kind of a push towards no longer having Tom Cable in the offensive line room there. But the one thing you could speak to as well as anyone, Tom Cable had those guys ready to go. Tom Cable had those guys motivated and ready to push. And I think Kubiak's going to help, and the new offensive line coach as well is going to help with that as well.
Yep, John Benton got hired on with Clint Kubiak here in Seattle. This is your Seahawks Squad Show. We're going to break it down the only way we know can. The only way we know that we can. Let me try and speak correctly here. We got Robert Turbin, former Seahawks, Super Bowl 48 champ. I got Christopher Crawford as well, who has a very keen eye on a lot of this stuff. I'm going to lean on these guys big time because I'm just a fan. I'm asking the questions that everyone else wants to know here. Hopefully everyone else wants to know. If you want to know something I'm not asking, please pop into the comments section. Let us know what we need to ask these guys. But this is your Seahawks Squad Show. Once again, I'm just going to keep mentioning a couple times throughout this inaugural episode. We're not replacing Locked On Seahawks by any stretch of the imagination. This is in concurrence with your daily Locked On Seahawks content with Corbin Smith, Rob Rang, Nick Lee, those guys, right? And Corbin Smith and Rob Rang will actually be joining on Thursday's episode as well. So we'll get kind of a taste with everyone involved. We'll have a rotating cast of these three, myself, Turbo, Chris Crawford, Rob Rang, and Corbin Smith, all kind of contributing to this. And then, of course, once the Seahawks season starts, we'll be your post-game show. We'll be your place where you need to tune in right after every single Seahawks game, immediate reactions, looking ahead to the next week, everything you need right here in the Seahawks Squad Show. Every single Seahawks game. And that starts at the preseason, which is weird because it's only like 3 weeks away. That is
so crazy.
So, okay, we'll take one more quick break. Before we get back, the question I have for you guys and you guys in the comments as well, what's the thing you're most looking for an answer to going into training camp starting tomorrow? What's an answer you need to have from training camp starting tomorrow at the Virginia Mason Athletic Center? We'll be right back with the answers to that question. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about the baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting.
You're already following the action. Why not make it a little more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. You can use it to track your favorite matchups. There's always something fresh. There's always daily new promotions. It's easy to use. It's fast to pay out. It makes regular season games feel like must-watch events. So whether you're doing a same-game parlay or you're watching a bet right into the ninth inning, FanDuel makes it feel like you're part of the action.
If you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. All right. Training camp starts tomorrow, July 23rd at the VMAC. It's weird that we're already beginning football season here. It's wild to me. So thank you so much for tuning in to the Seahawks Squad Show here on the Locked On Seahawks YouTube channel. Really appreciate you. If you missed any part of today's show, number one, if you didn't know, you can rewind to the beginning on YouTube, even if we're live like we are right now. So you can start it from the beginning, not miss a single thing. Number two, you can go back to the YouTube channel, start it from the beginning in the live section of the Locked On Seahawks page, and we'll be posting everything on podcast platforms as well. So anywhere you get your podcasts, just look for the Locked On Seahawks page there, and it'll specifically say the Seahawks Squad Show there for you. So you'll get us however you want. If you want to see our lovely faces, awesome. If you don't, if you're on the go, maybe you're driving somewhere, you're stuck in traffic, like a lot of people are right now, you can put us on whatever podcast app you use, and you can still hear what we're talking about, breakdown every single day. But the question I asked right before our break, you two, what's the thing you're most looking for an answer for in training camp? Chris Crawford, I'll start with you.
I think that I'm most curious about the battle for the third wide receiver position. And it seems like that MVS Marquez Valdes-Scantling is going to have the big benefit there. I've been a big Torrey Horton fan for a long time. And for those of you who say, how the heck are you a fan of a guy who plays in the Mountain West? I have covered college football for a very long time, and I had to do an awful lot living on the West Coast of Colorado State football games. And every time I watched that dude, I came away impressed, saying that guy can play in the NFL and he can go make plays on the outside. And if not for the injury, this is not a guy who slides to the fifth round, right? This is a guy who is a probably top 75 pick. It wouldn't have shocked me if he would have left as a sophomore at Colorado State, which you can't do. But if he could have done that, he is the type of guy who would have been in consideration for the top 2 rounds. So if he can be that guy who kind of takes the top off of that defense, you have a guy like Cooper Kupp, who, health concerns, but has been a very productive player. And we've waxed poetically about Jackson Smith-Njigba and his ability. Marquez Valdes-Scantling, I'd feel a lot more comfortable with as my fourth wideout, right? Not somebody that you're relying on quite as much. That's what I'm most interested to see, is who takes that step forward. I will also say Ricky White, a guy that I covered a lot or watched a lot at UNLV as well. He's going to be a special team star, but also a guy who is extremely productive in, I think, Turbo knows, one of the better football conferences, right? You have a little bit of bias there.
I was going to say,
Ricky White
did you take that dig to the Mountain West? Like what's going on there?
Oh, no. Torrey Horton and Ricky White are both really, really, really good players.
Totally
really good players. I told you guys at the start, I call games for CBS. I do the Mountain West.
Oh yeah.
I'm on the A team for the Mountain West. So majority of my schedule is Mountain West games. I've watched Torrey Horton and Ricky White play for a number of years, multiple years now.
Yeah.
At their respective schools. Really good players.
Really
good
good
great
players.
Point there, Chris. Great point.
What about you, Turbo? What's an answer you need from training camp? Like, as someone who's been going to training camp for your whole career, obviously, you can only get so much from that before you start playing games. Even preseason games, you get a little bit more. But what's something that you think that we as fans and analysts of the Seahawks need to have an answer to by the end of training camp before preseason?
Good question. And the last point I want to make about Ricky White too is when they drafted him in the 7th round, I actually texted John Snyder and I said, man, Ricky White's gonna be a star. That's what I told him.
Beautiful.
And so we'll see how it shakes out. But another guy that I covered, or at least called a couple of his games over at Sam Houston, was Tyrese Knight. And the linebacker position to me is, still one that I know we all love Ernest, but to me, it's still one that hasn't necessarily, shaped out yet in terms of these are our guys, like the Bobby Wagner, KJ Wright, year after year after year after year. You just knew like linebacker was solid. Doesn't quite feel that way yet. Now I think when they drafted when they went and got Tyrese Knight, he was another guy that I hit up, because I love the guys that are kind of like those 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th undrafted players.
Sure.
That I know, like Tyrese Knight was a captain, he was a leader, he was, one of the best players in his conference, etc. Like, so he to me can become one of those like guys that you found like a diamond in the rough player,
Exactly.
that can end up being a star. So linebacker to me is like, okay, I think we're good on the front defensive line, in the middle, and on the edge. Linebacker. To me is what I want to see the result of once training camp ends and we head into the season.
Yeah, I was a little
sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
My biggest concern, like the depth behind those guys leaves a lot to be desired too, right? Like looking at the depth chart right now, you're looking at guys like Drake Thomas and Josh Ross. And, I think they're pretty good in terms of their weak side guys like DeMarcus Lawrence and Boye Mafe and Derek Hall.
Yeah,
I think,
but they're going to rush the passer though.
Right.
Those
guys in the middle though, like I don't see a whole lot of depth that I'm super excited about. So hopefully we do see that step forward from Tyrese Knight, because if he can be that guy and, both of them hopefully staying healthy, but if you could have those two up the middle playing to their level, and there's simply no doubt, like you take a look at what he did while he was a starter for the Seahawks and what he did at UTEP, to say this guy has a nose for the football is an understatement of understatements, right?
That's right.
Like,
it was UTEP. I think I said Sam Houston.
That's okay. That's okay. Texas.
Yeah, right.
55 different schools. It's very hard to keep track of all of them, right? And they both wear orange too. So that's
exactly
their fault, right? It's not your fault. It's their fault for both wearing orange. The guy has a nose for the football, like just tackle after tackle after tackle. Now, sometimes tackle can be a bit of, in my personal opinion, overrated stat, because if you make a tackle 8 yards down the field, it's not as exciting, right? Like somebody got to get him down.
One, it doesn't help you as much as if you read the play correctly.
100%. And that's the thing, right? And I saw that from Tyrese Knight as the year went on. I saw that ability to diagnose and to make those plays. But I will say the guys behind him, this is going to be a big preseason. And I think it's a position that they're going to have to look at what hits the waiver wire as well, because you have to have some guys behind those guys as well.
I've seen a couple good questions come in from our comments. We have a couple minutes to throw those in here, so I'm going to just throw those on, get your guys' answer. One quick thing from me, though, regarding the linebacker position, I couldn't agree more. I was very surprised they actually didn't address it in the draft, because there were some guys that were available that they decided to go in a different direction. And then, look, I love the Seahawks draft class this year. I'm excited to see what happens, but there definitely was some availability to at least bolster the depth in that section there. So that'll be something I really look forward to as well, coming from training camp. From K Toady here, Turbo, will fullback Robbie Oots help the running game? Heard he was a banger with a grumpy disposition at Alabama. I think that's a perfect way to put it. Like, how big is having a fullback in this offense now?
It's huge. I loved it. Marshawn used to love it. There are eyes, like we have great vision as backs, but fullbacks, man, sometimes they just, they see it before we do. And it really causes a little bit of confusion for the defense as well. In terms of where the fullback's aligned and where his path is and everything like that. It's a huge help. Having a fullback back there. So I think Oots is going to have a huge impact.
Chris?
Real quick, I wanted to ask you a question about that. Did you prefer that fullback lined right up, like straight eye, or did you kind of prefer the offset fullback to give you a little bit more vision? Which one did you
all the above.
All the above. Okay.
Hey, what? Just be in the backfield, you know? Like when he's offset, it's just like, man, you don't know as a defense. Is he coming across?
Right.
Is he going straight down? Like is he going straight forward in the A gap? Like there's just so many different things. Is he going outside on a toss?
Yeah.
I mean, and then when he's in the eye, it's just like, I don't know, man. You just feel like this connection, this synergy.
Yes.
With the fullback. You know what I mean? And so it's almost like, I don't know, good cop, bad cop, but we both got bad intentions.
Like that. I like that. I like
so
that
yeah, fullback. I think Oots, man, as long as he's physical, he's gonna be straight.
From everything we've heard, it seems like the guy has a mustache like I've never seen before.
He's the most undercover police officer looking person I've ever seen.
There you go.
I'm down with that. All right, one more quick one. And this is the great one to end on. Who do you guys think will be QB2? Chris, I'll start with you.
I think it's going to be Drew Lock for a while. And then it's so funny because Jalen Milroe did not impress me towards the end of his senior season, or his junior season, excuse me. Like it just didn't take the steps forward and really struggled in the Senior Bowl from the people I talked to. But here's the thing, right? the Seahawks know what they like at the quarterback position. And all of the reports have just been so impressive with the steps that he has taken, right? And the job he's done with his footwork and his job in just making decision-making. I think that at some point, Jalen Milroe becomes that guy. And at some point, it won't shock me if we have a little bit of a quarterback controversy.
Ooh, all right. Hot take right here in the hour mark for Chris Crawford. What about you, Turbo?
Who'll be QB2?
Yeah.
Sam Darnold.
Oh, he's saying it now. He's saying it now. We're ending on that. That is what we're ending on. That's perfect for the first. Oh man, you don't want to explain yourself at all? Anything like that?
No, perfect.
Okay, that's perfect.
I don't know if I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I believe that. Totally.
Not. Hey, you know what?
We'll
We haven't even seen him play yet, so I'm fine with making that take right now. You guys have been listening to the Seahawks Squad Show here on the Locked On Seahawks YouTube channel. Really appreciate you guys hanging out with us. We're gonna do this twice a week, usually Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6 o'clock. So you guys can come hang out with us. It'll be some combination of myself, Turbo, Chris Crawford here, Corbin Smith, and Rob Rang, also part of Locked On Seahawks as well. We'll break down film for you guys if you guys really want that. That's not going to be my area of expertise by no stretch of the imagination. We'll ask the questions that need to be asked, right? That's kind of where we're going here with the Seahawks Squad Show. Really appreciate you guys hanging out with us today. Turbo, Chris, any last words before we get out of here besides Sam Darnold being QB2?
Did you see the quickness? Like, he can still play. He can still play. Like,
you see how quick he got? A good time. I mentioned how I never pulled hamstrings and stuff like that before. That might actually happen if I try to do
that. He got out of there. Yeah. Good stuff, guys. All right, we'll talk to you guys on Thursday. 6 o'clock is our next show. Again, we'll have Rob and Chris with us. Rob and Corbin with us, with Turbo and myself as well. All right, so we'll talk to you guys next time. Thanks so much for tuning in.